AFKing at this Trident XP farm for 5 minutes gave me 7 Tridents, which is over 84 Tridents an hour at this farm. I don't really know what else to say. Here's how to build it for Minecraft Bedrock Edition. Before we get started with this farm, the first thing you want to make sure is that you're building it in the correct location. That correct location being over top of a body of water where you can see drown spawning below you. This is very, very important. You want to look around, make sure you can see drown spawning, otherwise drown might not be able to spawn inside of your farm. However, the first thing we want to do is actually build 50 blocks into the air, at least 50 blocks, just to make sure that none of the drowns or mobs in the water down here slow down the rates of the farm. We want all of the mobs to be spawning inside of our farm. So I'm going to use scaffolding and place it down, but of course you can use any block that you want, dirt with a ladder, or you can make a bubble elevator, whatever you want to do. I just find scaffolding the easiest though, because obviously you can just climb up it. Now once you get up here to the top, you're going to want to go ahead and place down a solid block, and this block right here is going to be the start of the farm. Now I'm going to go into creative mode really quickly just to show you guys why we build up so high off the ground. I have this resource pack installed right now. It is called Markers Pack by Foxynotail. I'm going to take an armor stand. There will be a link in the description, by the way, if you want to use this. A banner, and then just shift click with it, and this spawning sphere is going to show up. Now what this spawning sphere tells us, this green sphere here, no mobs can spawn inside when we are standing there. So if we are standing right here, no mobs will be able to spawn within this range. Now this range in between the green and this red sphere here is where mobs are able to spawn for a simulation distance of 4, which is what we're going to be building this farm on. So outside of here, no mobs can spawn. Inside of here, mobs are able to spawn, which is why we built up off the ground, because as you can see, this red sphere ends before we get to the water. So when we're standing up there at our AFK platform, none of these mobs down here will be rendered in. They will all be inside of our farm. I hope that little explanation of spawning mechanics makes sense. All you really need to know though is that if you stand up here, none of the mobs down there will be rendered in. So now to continue with the farm, off of this block, you're going to want to place down a 2x2 square of hoppers, or just 4 hoppers, however you want to place them down. And then wherever the hoppers were leading into, so they're all leading into this hopper for me, I'm going to go ahead and place, if I can place down, there you can place down a chest right there, and then a second one. And this is of course where all of the drops are going to go into. Now what you want to do is take a rail and a hopper minecart, and on any one of these 4 hoppers, doesn't really matter, shift, place down the rail, and then place the hopper minecart on top. And this is how the drops are actually going to be picked up through the blocks and then put down into this chest. So now what you want to do is just build up a couple temporary blocks off the side, and then make a 2x2 square of blocks over top of this here. And this is where all of the drowns are going to fall on top of. Now again, with temporary blocks, what you want to do is just make a ring around this 2x2 square, because we're now going to work on the Trident killer portion. If you don't have a Trident, or you don't want to set up a Trident killer, that is 100% okay. You can just manually kill them, but of course the Trident killer is, well, we'll make it fully automatic. So the first thing you want to do is face towards our chest. So mine was like this. Place a piston right there. Turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston, turn and place a piston like that. You now want to take your observers and place one like that, so the arrow is facing into the piston. And of course, again, do that for all 4 of the spots, making sure the arrow is facing in. And then take a redstone torch and place it on all of the sides of the pistons like this. And then you'll see the Trident killer get pushed in a circle. And this is why we only needed to add 1 hopper minecart down below, because any of the items that drop inside of here are just going to get pushed in a circle and eventually end up over top of the hopper minecart. Now what you want to do is take a lever, put it on one of the pistons, and then you can go ahead and flick this off for now. You now want to take a trident and throw it onto one of the pistons, and this is obviously what is going to be killing the drowned. Again though, you can keep this off. If you want, you can now hop down here and break all these temporary blocks, or you can keep them, it doesn't really matter. So far your farm should be looking like this. You're approximately 50 blocks up off the ground. Again, you can be higher if you want to, just don't go much lower than that. You have the chest, the hoppers, the hopper minecart, and then up here you should have your Trident killer. The next thing we want to build is the drop chamber for the farm. Now we want the drop chamber to be 25 blocks into the air like you can see here. Now if you're wondering why the farm has to be built 25 blocks above where we're AFKing, again, I'm going to pull out my armor stand just so I can explain it easily. If you remember from before, no mobs can spawn within this green sphere here. So when we are standing down at our AFK spot, now given we'll be 1 block lower, but that's okay, approximately, if you come 25 blocks into the air, this is where the mobs can start to spawn. Anything below this, there are no mobs spawning here. So again, it's going to be from here all the way up to here. So within this range, so from the top of this red sphere down to that block is where the farm should be built inside of, not outside of it. Otherwise, we're just going to be wasting our time and wasting our resources. Now for the drop chamber, I'm going to use glass, but of course you can use any material that you want. I just like to see the mobs falling. But of course, you want to take this glass and take it up a total of 24 blocks into the air. Alright, so our drop chamber is now done. I went ahead and filled in the corners, although it does not matter if you want to fill them in. I just think it looks a lot nicer. But the next thing you want to do, I'm actually going to hop down here really quickly, just so I can make a nice little AFK platform for myself. I'm going to go up 1 block right here, so I can still grab the chest. But of course, I will be able to stand here and collect the XP from inside, and I can start the farm. Now you can customize this however you want. You can change some stuff around. This is just pretty simple. You climb up here, you grab the loot, and you stand here to AFK for the XP. But now that we're done with this part, we can move on to the fun part, which is where the mobs, the drowns, are actually going to be able to spawn. So over top of your chamber, the first thing you're going to want to do is build a structure like this, a 2x2 hole in the middle, and you want to make sure to fill in the corners for this part. Now what you want to do is go out 1 temporary block and then up a block like that. And then again, continue another ring around this one that we've just made. And this is where the drown are going to be able to spawn. So it should look like this. And you want to do this a total of 12 times. That's 1, that's 2. So I'm going to want to do it 10 more times to make it a total of 12. Now, of course, you don't have to do 12. You can do a lot less if you want to. Just make sure not to do any more, because otherwise you will be going outside of that red spawning sphere. Now really quickly, if you're enjoying this video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. As well, if you want to make sure this farm works before you actually build it, or if your farm's not working, anything like that, you could download this exact world that I'm playing on. It is the first link in the description. With that, let's get back into the video. So, hello. So far, you should have that 2-high wall, surrounding the cone. The next thing we need to do is place down the water so the drowns can actually spawn. So come off to the side of the farm, anywhere that you want, and go ahead and make yourself an infinite water source, because we are going to need quite a lot of buckets of water for this next part. What you want to do is take 1 bucket of water and place it on every single one of these top blocks. The reason we do this is because this water will be 2 blocks tall, and the water needs to be 2 blocks tall for the drown to spawn. So again, take a bucket of water and place it on every one of these blocks. Once you're done placing all of the water, you want to make sure you don't have anything like this. That means that you did miss a bucket of water. Make sure it is solid all the way around. But once you're done with that, you can of course go ahead and remove your infinite water source. And there we go. Our trident farm is practically completed. If you only want it to work at the nighttime, perfect, your farm is done. However, this is the best farm, and so we want it working 24/7, which is why for this next step, we are going to build a roof over top of this farm. Now, like I just mentioned, if you don't care about it working all the time, you're fine with it only working at nighttime. You don't need to build the roof because it is pretty materials heavy, but for most of us, we are going to want it at this next step. Okay, I lied. There's actually one more thing we want to do before we build the roof, and that is come down here and place down our signs. So you're going to want to place down 4 signs in this hole here, just to make sure that none of the water can actually fall down the chamber. It all stops here. The next thing you want to do is go about halfway up this chamber. It doesn't really matter exactly where it is. So you can see I'm just somewhere in the middle. You want to go ahead and place 4 signs on this level as well, just like this. And then go ahead and place a bucket of water right there. The reason we do this is because the drop is actually too high, so the mobs are going to die to the fall. And we don't want that. We want to be able to collect the XP. So adding this here, we'll just make sure they don't die when they fall all the way down. But there you go. Now we have the trident farm complete and working. We're going to go ahead and put a roof on top of it next. Now there are 2 steps to the roof. There are the leaves and then there's the solid blocks. Now the leaves, when I say you have to build it with leaves, I mean you have to build it with leaves. For some reason, trident farms, the roofs only work if you build it out of leaves. I cannot stress this enough. Build this part out of leaves. The part that I'm going to build out of solid blocks can be leaves if you want it to. I'm just going to use solid blocks because getting leaves can be kind of annoying. So the first thing you're going to want to do, this part has to be made out of leaves. Go up 5 blocks like this, and then build over top of the corner with a leaf here. And then you want to copy the size of the water with leaves and then make one big platform over top. I don't know if that makes sense, but you'll see what it looks like in a second. Alright, so as you can see, I have leaves over top of this water portion, and the drown are already starting to spawn in the daytime. However, this is not 100% efficient, because as you can see, some of the drowned are, they can spawn pretty high up, but if you want to make this farm 100% as efficient as possible, we are going to extend this roof out just a couple more blocks, and this part does not have to be made out of leaves. It can be made out of any sol block that you want. However, if you're good with just having pretty good rates, not 100% the best, but pretty dang good, this leaf roof will be perfect. You can already see a ton of drowned starting to spawn, and then they're falling down there. But like I mentioned, I want the rates to be 100% the best possible. So all of these corners, you want to extend it out 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then come over here and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Connect this and then continue that around this platform. And this will give you 100% efficient rates at this farm. And there you go. Your Trident farm is now done. You have this leaf roof up here with the solid blocks on the side. Now, of course, you can make this more pretty if you want. You can round it off, whatever you want to do. But yeah, so as you can see, tons of drowned are spawning, and then they flow down this chamber, get slowed down by this water all the way down to our Trident killer here, which, by the way, it's not a bad idea to place some torches down here just to make sure mobs can't spawn. But now all I have to do, if I am in survival mode, is flick on this lever and then stand here. Now, one more thing I should mention is if you hold out a looting 3 sword, you are going to get better rates because of the Trident killer there. We threw down the Trident, we hold out looting 3, so the looting 3 effect is applied. But as you can see, I've been standing here for 30 seconds, and already a ton of drowned have come falling down this chamber, and the drops are going inside of this chest. Now, we don't have any Tridents yet, but of course, this farm is 100% AFK, and it is the best, so you can leave this on overnight, and you'll come back to chests full of Tridents. All right, another Trident guy falling down. Let's see if he's going to end up dropping his Trident. He is. Okay, so just like that, I've already gotten a Trident. Now, it is very broken, but again, you can put a bunch of them together. And since this farm is fully AFK, you're going to have no issues with how many Tridents you have from here on out. So go ahead, build my other farms that take a bunch of Trident killers because you now have infinite Tridents from this farm. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, you could download this exact world. It's the first link in the description. And with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. BlazedMC out.